we're going to go ahead and add Coach Fritz to the show. Coach, walking the halls. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. How y'all doing?
Great.
Wonderful. Great to see you.
I'm getting back
Go ahead,
to my
Brad.
office. I'll get there.
Okay. Eventually.
So, Coach, one of the things I look forward to most.
I'm getting there. All right, here I am.
One of the things I look forward to the most after wins is seeing you being lifted up and thrown around the room. Where did that come about?
You know,
where did that come about?
I coached. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, good. I coached years ago at a place called Coffeyville Community College, and we used to kind of do that song after games. And then when I became a head coach at Blinn in 1993, I started doing it then, and I've done it ever since. And people always ask me, "Aren't you worried they're going to drop you?" I tell everybody I only do it after a win. I don't do it after the other outcome. So they catch me on those games.
I'm going to be honest, though. You look a little scared here.
Oh, I like.
You look a little frightened. Maybe a little worried that they're going to do it.
Maybe a little worried.
All right.
And I love it so much just because, you only get 12 of these. And so every one of them are huge.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time with the guys. That, they work, 300 and probably 30 or 40 days a year, for these 12 opportunities. And we're only guaranteed 12 of them. And I think the other day I told them, hey, after 3.5 hours right before we went out to play this last ball game, we'll be a third of the way through our season. And it just happens so quick. Put all this time, effort, energy into this. You want to really do a great job during this season. I talk a lot about it. In-season heroes as opposed to off-season heroes. There's a lot of guys that really give it their all in January through August, but the real time we need it is September through December. Hopefully January too, right? So, that's something that we visit with our guys a lot, just putting everything into it right now and, worrying about, academics, worrying about football, and, that social stuff will take care of itself in January.
Yep. So what did you learn about your team after that tough but yet great night?
We didn't play great, no question about it. We didn't start very good, and I was disappointed in that. But one thing that I'm going to talk to them about tomorrow morning, we give our guys Sundays off. You have to give one day off per NCAA rules. And tomorrow morning when we team meet, I'm just going to talk about the fact that I was very proud of how resilient they were. And on the sideline, understanding that, hey, we just got to keep fighting, scratching, clawing, and the guys kept doing that throughout the ball game, and we got stronger as the game progressed, particularly late in the fourth quarter, and we're able to pull out the W. But it just, you got to keep pushing and scratching and fighting and clawing and doing all those things, and you got to do it the whole ball game. We're all disappointed in how we played the first 3.5 quarters, but I was very proud of how we finished the game.
You went fast on offense late in that fourth quarter. Fans are going to wonder, why can't you do that the full game? So what's the answer to that?
Well, we do it at times. Obviously you had to do it right then and there because of the time constraints that you had winning the game. But, the big part of it is you go through all these plays and, you want to make sure everybody's on the same page. That's just, if we can get 11 pluses, we're going to have a great play on offense, defense, kicking game. We've got 11 guys that are doing their assignment, what they're supposed to do. We got an opportunity to be very, very successful. Sometimes, going fast is good. Sometimes going fast isn't good. You're correct, though. It worked well for us at the end of the game. They couldn't sub. They were rushing 4. They were playing a little bit, soft coverage, maybe a little bit more, and we did a good job of pass protection, in the last couple drives of the game as well.
You're going into the heart of this Big 12 schedule now. Where do you see the need to improve on each side of the ball?
Oh, we need to improve in all 3 areas. I was disappointed in the kicking game. We had 3 penalties. That's 3 too many. I thought offensively, talked about it before, we just didn't start real well. But, maybe it was, what do they call it, paralysis by overanalysis? I don't know. But we worked on these guys for a long time. And, our opening script, we even had a couple screw-ups on that. And we've gone through that opening script of plays, I think 6 times, 6 different practices. And normally you only have an opportunity to go over your script a couple times. You kind of finalize it at the end of the week. So, we just need to do a better job of just staying on point. I've challenged the coaches. We got to make sure we're playing the right Jimmies and the Joes in the right circumstances as well. We've gone long enough in the season where we have a pretty good idea about what guys are good at and what they're not so good at, and stay away from the bad things and try to really maximize and show the great things that they do. And then also on defense, I didn't think we tackled as well as what we had the first 3 ball games. Just didn't tackle great, and had a little bit of confusion when, a few times they got the back out on us, and we had our eyes in the wrong place, and they got a few big plays out of that.
Brad?
With so many with injuries on the offensive line, how difficult has it been to be able to kind of shuffle guys in and out and figure out the true depth chart, and then all of a sudden have to move people around left and right?
Well, that's a position I think everybody in the country doesn't have as much depth as they wish they had. David Ndukwe, unfortunately, is out for the season. He had surgery a couple days ago. So we got some guys that are playing, 2 or 3 different spots up there on the offensive line. We really got, 6 guys that were playing a lot, and we feel like we need to. We can play a 7th and an 8th guy as well. But we're really, I think the coaches are doing a good job of getting guys playing the tackle position, guard, center. You can't have enough centers. You got to have guys that can snap the football effectively. But we're trying to find the right rotation, how many plays guys are playing. And trying to really get about 2 or 3, at least 2 more guys in the rotation if we feel good that they can play Big 12 winning football. But we don't have a ton of depth there. There's a few positions we have where, linebackers, for instance, we think we could play 5 guys at those 2 spots.
Right.
Corners, we think we could play 4 guys at those 2 spots. But offensive line, we just don't have as much depth as we'd like. But I don't know if anybody in the country does.
I was going to say, it seems like that is the hardest hit area of NIL, is that the O-line used to be a developmental position to where you got guys coming in as freshmen, redshirt, then sit sophomore, play some sophomore, and then come on and start as juniors and seniors. But that doesn't seem to exist much anymore.
No, you're exactly right. It's a tough position to develop guys. We're a developmental program. We talk about recruit, retain, develop. And one of the things we want guys to do here is have a great experience and be around here so that we can develop them. And that's the number one position. There's not very many. I've had a handful of true freshmen at all the different levels that I've coached that have walked in and started for us. It takes a couple of years for that to happen. So we need to, do a great job of keeping our guys here, getting the right guys, and developing them, and understand though that you may have to find some other guys at some point in time. It's the landscape of football has changed. You took a job and you developed guys for a couple of years, and then they started for you their junior, senior year, or maybe their sophomore, junior, senior year if they got redshirted. Now you just have to make sure you have enough depth, and have an alternative plan in your back pocket, particularly the offensive line position.
Right.
You talk about freshmen not starting very often, but Chance Bryant has come in playing quite a bit as a true freshman, defense, special teams, even inserted in the offensive lineup this week. What's that about with him on the offense, and is that something we're going to see going forward, or just when you get some guys back healthy?
Yeah, we'll keep him over there. He playing some fullback for us. He played some tight end. He played a lot of different spots at Fulshire High School. Had a great program, and it's one of the great things about recruiting and getting guys from the state of Texas. They've been in some complicated schemes before, offense, defense, kicking game. I always compare, high schools down here to small colleges. The staff size, complexity of what they do on offense, defense, and in the kicking game. So this hasn't intimidated him at all. He also is playing, some for us on, I think he played 11 snaps on defense, starts for us on kickoff return, punt, and also punt return team. He also starts on extra point field goal as well. So he's, the freshman you play, sometimes it's by position. Maybe you don't have much depth there, and guy walks into a situation where he's got to play right away. But the other part is he's got to be able to know what's going on. He's got to be football smart. And Chance is very, very football smart, and that's why he's playing a lot as a true freshman.
We have Amari Thomas on after you. If you had to pinpoint one attribute of his, what would it be?
Something he's really he's got a lot of great attributes, but he's really smart. I just got done. We just had a long meeting and went over the game tape and grades and all those kind of things. And he was 100% being assignment sound. So he lined up properly. He ran the proper play. Remember, this all changes based on coverage and what they're doing on the back end sometimes. When you come on, the routes change. Who you block changes. But he runs good routes. He plays with good energy. He's got good hands. But he's also smart. We got to, you want to get talented guys who have a high football IQ, and the more of those guys you have, the better your team's going to be. And if they don't have that high football IQ, those are guys that, it's also based on the position they play. But those are the guys you got to develop in your system and keep your system consistent so they can learn it and be able to flourish in it.
We've had Jaden York on this show quite a bit, and Andre Ware said in the broadcast that he's done for the year. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think he is going to be done for the season.
Okay.
Got hurt a couple weeks ago, early in the Colorado game, and
yeah,
I know he had surgery, and so I don't know if he's going to be able to come back. It's 8, 9, 10 week situation for him, so we'll see. Hopefully we're playing right, and he has an opportunity to come back. That'd be fantastic. But we miss him because, again, high football IQ. He can play, with his hand in the ground as a tight end. He can play out on the perimeter. He can play in the backfield. He'll block you. He's a tough guy, and he's played some kicking game for us as well. So he can do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Corey Platt has been back for 3 games, and he's got 2.5 sacks. What does he mean to this defense, and how important is he going forward?
Well, he's really important. He's, Corey played for me in my last school, and he's really battled through some hardships, and we're also happy to see him out there playing and having success. He's got tremendous speed for a linebacker. He's a legit 4.5 guy, maybe even a little faster than that. And he does a good job of tracking people and taking good, angle beats speed. We talk about all the time. He's got great speed. He takes great angles, and that's really, really important as a pass rusher as well. Or if you're a guy that's, spying the quarterback and, then he gets out of the pocket or tries to step up in the pocket, you got to take the proper angle in order to contain him or make the play. He's done a super, super job of that. We're going to be getting him more involved here in the upcoming next few weeks. Unfortunately, before the first game, he sprained his ankle and, wasn't able to play in that game. And it was kind of a little bit, we couldn't play him as much as we wanted to, maybe that week 2, but the last 2 weeks, he's played a bunch.
Bradley?
All right, we're going to go to a question here. You had two field goal blocks in Friday's game. How much work do you do on that in practice, off season and during the season?
Well, we do a ton of work on it year round, but Josh Christian Young is our safeties coach, and he runs our extra point field goal block team and does a fabulous job. He's really creative with PowerPoints and showing blocks across the nation at the collegiate level and also in the NFL. We do a lot of individual technique drills with extra point block. Latrell McCutcheon laid out for one, and really, it's a drill we use where he, comes off the edge, and you got to get your steps down properly in order to have an opportunity to block a kick. We have a landing mat out there that the guy lands on. You have a snapper. You have a holder at the spot where you need to be at. And then Mark Stampley blocked the other one. We, in between the tight end and the wing, we do what we call a bicycle technique. And, he did a really nice job of pulling himself through and blocking the kick. But those were 2 huge plays for us, and we work on it a bunch. During our bye week, we worked on that for 10 minutes one day, and we worked on it, 5 different occasions during preseason camp, and then the coach shows tape on it the night before the game, just to review with our guys what our opponent does and, how we're going to attack them. And then we also do extra point field goal versus extra point field goal block, twice a week. So those guys get some live reps also in it.
Fantastic.
Late in overtime, the clock was running down. You had to call timeout right before Ethan Sanchez attempted a kick. People saw that as you icing your own guy, but it was a clock issue, right?
Hey, somebody asked me that. I might be the dumbest coach in the world to do that. Now, every time the ball goes back 5 yards, you go down, 1, 2, 3, 4% in your ability to make it. And unfortunately, every kicker I've ever had, and I've had some great kickers now. I mean, I'm really good kickers. I had 2 guys that were all pro 2 years ago, but they all have their own ritual that they like to do. And we just need to get that, we need to speed it up a little bit and get it going. I think, that's a big deal because sometimes also a field goal, you got a clock field goal, man. You got to get out there and go. There's a whistle field goal that we work on, right? But when you don't have those time constraints, you want your kicker to go through the ritual that he's done over and over and over again. And unfortunately, it looked like the clock was going to run out. I didn't want it to go back 5 yards.
Fair enough. Brad, do you have anything else?
I didn't know if it was a new thing to ice the kicker. Maybe he had some kind of mental advantage.
No, we wouldn't. Something that you try to do. We did it to their kicker I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
You
Right.
want to call the timeout early enough where he doesn't get a practice kick.
Right.
And so we called it pretty early, and the guy, didn't get a practice kick on it. But no, we don't want to kicker.
So this weekend we got a big one coming up, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty wild one from a crowd standpoint. What are your thoughts going into this?
Well, I hope we have a sellout. Number one, I heard when I was talking to our athletic director Eddie Nunez the other day. He thinks it's trending that way, and hopefully that'll be the case. We'd love to get a packed house out there with the we're doing a blue out. We're doing our wearing our blue for the game, Houston blue. So we're excited about that as well. But yeah, this is going to be a big ball game for us. Texas Tech has got an excellent squad. They have, really done a good job recruiting and getting guys in the portal, and they very good size. They've got good speed on the perimeter. A couple of good quarterbacks they've had to play the last. Their backup quarterback came in and played really well against Utah. Defensively, we got some familiarity with them. Their defensive coordinator was here at Houston last year. Sheil Wood did a great job for me at Tulane and also here at Houston. So that's there's probably a little more familiarity there, but unfortunately, got some really good players, along with a great scheme. So we're gonna have to play. I'm gonna talk to our guys tomorrow in our team meeting. Just say, hey, we're very fortunate that you guys were resilient last Friday night, won that ball game. I think it taught us a lot of lessons to just keep fighting and scratching and clawing. But hey, we're gonna have to play. We're gonna have to bring our A game this weekend. No question about it. We got to be able to play 4 quarters, 60 full minutes or longer, like what happened last Friday, in order to come away with a victory, because this is a quality opponent and a very well coached team too.
Do the players really get into the blue, wearing the blue?
Yeah, they love it. They love it. It's I drive by the old Houston Police Department here and see the old the blue, and then obviously, I was over at Sam Houston as a coordinator there, and at Blinn Junior College when you had the Love You Blue going crazy here in H-Town. So yeah, they really like it. They think it's pretty darn neat. So yeah, they're excited about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. We appreciate your time, and good luck Saturday against Tech.
Thank you all very much. Go Cougs.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Willie Fritz, there's your guy. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, you can see why this program is developing the way it is. I mean, the focus, the amount of focus, the amount of detail, the amount of intensity, the amount of thoroughness in everything that we do. I mean, people know what they're doing just by talking to them, and being able to explain it to us, and you see him in pretty much every one of his interviews or media appearances, that it's all detail. I mean, and nothing's overlooked. Nothing is too small, and that pays off. That's just the way it is.